Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. Hope you're all doing very well for the latest Manchester United news as Declan Rice drops a transfer hint that could spark or prick the ears of Manchester United. Erik ten Hag gets a big injury boost, and also Paul Scholes says that the target this season should be a trophy. Is that realistic? Three big topics to get into. If you haven't heard the interview from Declan Rice this morning, obviously he's on international duty. Oh, the timing of this is impeccable. If they work for me, they're sacked. I'm telling you. They bloody do. You're fired. You're fired. Bloody idiots. Absolute idiots. We've only been live, not even been live 30 seconds. They're doing it. That's done on purpose. You're fired. You know who you are. You're fired. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Absolute unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right, let's get on with the show. It could be Declan Rice, actually. I didn't look at the number. Right, let me get back into what I want to talk about. We're talking about Declan Rice. He did an interview this morning, dropped a massive transfer hint. Could he be a player that Manchester United look at? Yes, he could. He is a player that Manchester United really like and have liked for a long time. He has said this morning on the World Cup with England, he said you get one career in football. I look at my mates in the squad, they're playing Champions League, they're playing for trophies. Of course, when I retire, I don't want to have any regrets. Bloody frustrating this is. Sackbridge, the Christmas Grinch. I mean, refresh everybody. I don't know what's going on. What's going on? I don't know. Are we back now? Anyway, let's get going with the show. So Declan Rice did an interview today and he basically said that he wants to play Champions League football and he wants to play it now. Obviously, he's actually older than I thought. He's 24 in January. I thought he was still like 21. So he's got to go. Could he be an option for Manchester United? He always speaks very glowingly about Manchester United as well. Whenever he plays at Old Trafford, he spoke about Rashford in the interview. I believe that this is a deal he would do. Now, the interesting thing about Declan Rice is, and it's not very old, Johannes, not at all. And I would, Simon Jordan on Talk Sport today, if you know who he is, he was basically saying he can't understand why Declan Rice is a £100 million player. I'm still waiting for him to pass the ball forward. Admittedly, I don't think he's had a great World Cup, and I don't think he's had a great season for West Ham either. But would you take Declan Rice at Manchester United? That's the first question I want to ask, and we'll do that in a poll. You know what? I think this is really interesting because I think that the first thing you need to ask yourself is, are you saying no because of the price tag? Don't worry about the price tag. As Jessie J once sang, it's all about the price tag, but it's not all about the price tag. If Man United get a new owner, does that mean that the price and budgets don't matter as much anymore? Potentially not. So I wouldn't think about the price tag. I would say, do you want Declan Rice to come to Manchester United? Because we need another midfielder. Casemiro is brilliant, but we do need another midfielder. So would you want Declan Rice at Manchester United? Do I think Declan Rice would come to Manchester United? I do. I think he'd be very interested. I think he always speaks very openly about us. Would I want him at Manchester United? I think he's a very talented player. I really do like him. And if that's what Ten Hag wanted to do and he had the money to do it, I'd be all for it. As long as we were bringing in a striker, a right back and a centre back as well, I wouldn't have a problem with Declan Rice. And as Straw says, he's much better than McTominay or Fred. And he is. So he'd be an improvement. If he's enough of an improvement, that's a different thing. But we do, people say I want Bellingham. They're two very different players. Jude Bellingham is box to box. Declan Rice is not box to box. Declan Rice is, you play a holding midfield too, which you might want to do. You might want to go to the Etihad and play Casemiro and Rice. Or, Casemiro, you might want to rest him, you play Rice there. So I like the idea of signing Declan Rice. I think he's a very good player. Jonathan says rather Bellingham. That's the point to me. What are you talking about? They're completely different players. We need another holding midfielder. We've only got Casemiro. McTominay's not good enough for me in that position. I think he's more box to box. We do need another holding midfielder. And I would like Declan Rice. But what I would say is he's definitely going to leave West Ham in the summer. He's definitely put himself in that situation. If United have got new owners, maybe we do look at him. And if Ten Hag wants him and he wants to come to us, I haven't got a problem with it. Clarity, he's going to Chelsea. I just have a bit of a situation where actually I do seem to get better information on Chelsea than I do at United. I mean, I get good information on United, but the Chelsea information I get is very, very good. Very good from 2 or 3 people. normally know the team news well in advance, and transfer stuff as well. I mean, Raheem Sterling, I knew he was signing before any of the journalists said it was. I knew it at the start of June. So I know quite a bit about what goes on at Chelsea. It doesn't benefit me at all. I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I do. It's like this morning there was a story that Chelsea players don't like Potter and they want Tuchel. Not true. Most of the Chelsea squad love Potter, and Tuchel burnt his bridges with his attitude when he came back from the summer break. So that's the truth. People can like... Yeah, it is. I'll sort this out for the next stream. Apologies. It's frozen again. But yeah, I don't know what we caught with that. But Declan Rice will go to Chelsea, in my opinion, and therefore I don't think it'll end up being a decision for us. They really do like Declan Rice at Chelsea. He wants to go there. But look, I wouldn't rule it out. And I think the exciting thing for us is 58% of you said you would go for Declan Rice. And how many of you? So 42% of you said you wouldn't go for Declan Rice. The interesting thing is, and this is the exciting thing, I don't think, if you'd asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have said no chance. We can't afford to pay £100 million for him. The Glazers won't give us that amount of money. But under new ownership, maybe you can buy Declan Rice, Osimhen, a right back and a centre back next summer as a big statement summer. And people are forgetting this. People are forgetting this as well. We're going to get a bumper summer next summer. If we get the new owners in, we're going to get a bumper summer because every new owner wants to get the fans on side. I was talking about this with someone a couple of days ago, and I'm like, there's a lot of concern in the fan base. There's a lot of negativity. And when you think about it, we had a £200 million summer last summer. The Glazers did spend that money. Why they did it? Probably because they were panicking about fans turning on them again, etc., etc. So they did spend that money, right? So we've just had a £200 million summer. We're going to get it again next summer. This is brilliant for the fan base and it's brilliant for Ten Hag. Why are we going to get it again? Because if the Glazers aren't in charge, every new owner wants to make a statement. Whether they do it the summer after, I don't know. But next summer, we're going to have a big budget. Ten Hag is in a brilliant situation. He's had a good summer in his first summer and he's going to get a good summer in his second summer. So, you know, we could buy Declan Rice and Osimhen next summer if that's what the new owners want to do. And I think, look, forget Declan Rice for a minute. That is going to happen, isn't it? It's very logical that we are going to spend a lot of money in the summer. So we will bring that. We will have to wait and see. And maybe Declan Rice becomes an option. Could get De Jong for that, if not less, says Tom. We could go back in for De Jong. You're right. We could easily go back in for De Jong. Just on Declan Rice, a few people have said he won't go for 100 million. I don't know what contract he signed at West Ham, but it's bloody huge. I think he signed it in 2000. It's got 2 more years on it. He's out. He's not out. He's out. He's got somebody. Some people think his contract is up in a year. It's not. It's up in 2024 with the option for another year. That's why West Ham will get a lot of money for him because he's basically got 2.5 years left on his contract. Yeah. So he's going to cost a lot of money. Mark, if the Glazers give us cash in January, do you think that's because they have 8 billion coming in, says Paul Woolley? I think it's because they want to retain the value of the club and the club's more valuable if it's in the Champions League. To be honest with you, if I was negotiating with the Glazers to buy Manchester United, I would say there's 6 billion, but that's if the club's in the Champions League. If they're not in the Champions League, it's 5.5 billion. I'd do that. But, you know, whether they can do that or not. Regarding the sale, the announcement is probably an RFP or request for proposal, i.e. the Glazers probably have someone lined up, like you've said, and they are seeing if they can get more on top, says Brandon. I would agree. Connection issues happen sometimes. It's okay, says Casper. Yeah, thank you very much, Casper. Appreciate that. I mean, if it does drop out, just refresh. It seems to be just dropping out for a couple of seconds or so. So it's been a problem for the last day. I'm hoping you're going to fix it for the watch along at 3 o'clock, which I'm doing on That's Football. McFred out and Rice in, and another midfielder says Ben Johnson. Well, look, you know, we can all get excited. But as I said, I think if we were owned by the Glazers, you'd rule this out. But because we're not, who knows what we can do? And I think fans need to start getting a positive mindset that whether it's US owner, Dubai, Sir Jim, that first summer they're in charge, they're going to want to send a statement. They do not want the cracks appearing at the start. They do not want people thinking that they're a bad owner. Because whatever their plan is, they need the fans on side. So I think that first summer, hopefully this summer coming, we will get big expenditure to say, look, we are here to be serious. Let's go and buy some players. I mean, look at what Todd Bowley was doing last summer. He was trying... They were too late because he didn't get hold of the club till July, June. But he was chucking the money around trying to get them players. So I think we will get the same, which will be interesting. I'm going to close the poll, but it's around 50-50 on Declan Rice. And look, I like Declan Rice. I think he's a good player. I think he would come to United if Chelsea wasn't a possibility. And but I do think he'll end up at Chelsea. Moyes likes Warren Wan-Bissaka and Maguire. Possible Rice trade, says Robin. And do you think Declan Rice is willing to leave, says Arrow? 100%. Watch the interview this morning. He wants to play Champions League football. He wants to win the big prizes. And he wants to leave West Ham in the summer. So he will go. It's just where he's going to go. Sicko says that Rice is defensive. You cannot play Casemiro and Rice in the same team. But I think that's what we're talking about, mate. What if Casemiro gets injured? We haven't got a backup CDM. And also, you can play them together. What if you're going to Anfield? What if you're going, Champions League away? What if you're playing Man City? What if you're going to Arsenal? Maybe you want to play two holding midfielders and attacking midfielder. Maybe you do want to do that. Shiban says that Ghanaian politician mentioned Harry Maguire in his talk at the Parliament Epic. Don't know if you came back from that. I've seen this clip, right? And basically, it's a Ghanaian, we're all from different countries, but you get like your parliamentary debates. This Ghanaian, apparently, politician stands up and basically uses an analogy of, his opposition being like Harry Maguire scoring own goals. Jesus, unbelievable, really. Hi, Mark. What's your priority order for new signings in terms of their on-field positions? Top 5, love your work, says Patrick. Welcome to the Members Club, Rob. And when do you think realistically we can get a new owner? If it's later than the summer, then the Glazers won't spend anything. Yeah, we've got to get it done, Amit, way before the summer so that we can attack that summer and get the players that we want. Now, fortunately, the new owner won't make a massive amount of difference. As long as they're in play by April, Ten Hag will have his targets anyway, and we can be talking to those targets. It's just about the money. And if I was Man United, I'd say to Ten Hag, plan for the summer that you want 5 signings. And if we get 2, you get 2. If you get 3, you get 3. If you get all 5, you get all 5. But let's plan that we're going to get 5 signings next summer, and hopefully the new owners will come in and you'll get it. Simple as that. Patrick, what would my top 5 signings be? Well, I'd be interested to know what yours are. I mean, it's a video in itself, isn't it? Top 5 priorities. I mean, I'm not going to do a video in it because I'm not going to do it here. I'd rather get Bellingham than Rice, says Jason. And when do you think realistically we can get new owners? Yeah, we've done that one from Amit. So my priority positions for Manchester United are striker. We do need a right back, so you've got to put that in. Midfielder, centre back, and then probably another midfielder. That's what I would go with. Thanks for joining the Members Club, by the way. Appreciate that from Rob. I appreciate we haven't had an exclusive weekly members video for a couple of weeks, but we have got one coming up for you next week. Something from the studio, which I think you're going to really enjoy. So thanks for the members who support the channel, like just Kevin as well, who wants to be unblocked on That's Football. Mate, I haven't got time to be unblocking you on That's Football at the moment, mate. If I remember to do it in a bit, I'll do it. Hope the owners don't sack Eric as they usually like their own person. I think this is a myth, Tom. I'm not even going to spend any time talking about it. New owners tend to get rid of new owners tend to get rid of managers for a new manager for many different reasons. I don't think you'd come in with the appetite of sacking Ten Hag. I just don't see it. Never say never, but I think there's next to no chance of that happening. Talking about Ten Hag, he's had a bit of a boost. I don't know whether you read it this morning. So Brandon Williams, Axel Twansebi and Tom Heaton are all back from injury. I didn't even know Tom Heaton was injured, to be fair. And he is the third choice keeper. But Brandon Williams and Axel Twansebi back in training, expected to be involved in the game next week, which is a week yesterday. We're playing at 7 o'clock at night. We'll be doing a watch along for that when we play Cadets. Who will be playing will be very interesting because we won't have that many players available. What would happen if Elon Musk bought Man United to Arrow? Well, we'd have a billionaire in charge. But interestingly, I mean, ETA, Eric Ten Hag says Kim Min-jae, Enzo Fernandez, Frimpong, Tony Gakpo. People need to forget about Enzo Fernandez. He's such a hipster signing. It's like, oh, Enzo Fernandez. Why the case for Enzo Fernandez? Why we need Enzo Fernandez? And I'm like, just fucking move on. Like, move on. I want to operate in a realistic world. We're not getting Enzo Fernandez. He's not going to leave Benfica in the summer anyway. And when he does go, he's going to go to Real Madrid or somewhere like that. You blew it. We blew it. Move on. Enzo Fernandez. People are acting like Enzo Fernandez is still playing in Argentina. He moved. He went to Benfica. He's only been there 5 months. He's going to stay at Benfica for another year, and then he's going to go to Real Madrid or something like that. He's not going to come to Manchester United. And even if we sign Enzo Fernandez, it's not going to happen for 18 months. What are we talking about 18 months for? We've got to be thinking about next summer midfielder, and Enzo Fernandez is not going to be that. And we had a chat. He's a brilliant player. We had a chance, and we blew it, and we need to move on. Because Rangnick told them to buy him a year ago, and they went, nah, we'll leave it. And it's gone. And I'm not going to waste my time talking about a player that's not going anywhere in the summer anyway. It's irrelevant. If he plays for United in 18 months, great. We'll talk about it in a year. But not now. It's a waste of time. And people who are just going, let's get Enzo Fernandez, they're living in a dream world. They're living in a dream world. Sean says Enzo is 100% a future star. Yeah, he's 100% not coming to Man United next summer either. I think in the summer, you're going to have to talk about, I don't think we'll get Bellingham either. I think Bellingham's a waste of time. I really don't think we'll get Bellingham. A new owner might help us, but I don't think we'll get Bellingham because I don't think we'll definitely be in the Champions League. Yeah, I think there's more chance of us going for De Jong. But anyway, going back to the players that are back from injury. I mean, it's not massively exciting. It's a boost. It's not a bad time to come back if you're Brandon Williams and Axel Tuanzebe. I mean, I think the big question about Williams and Tuanzebe is what was the injury? I mean, they've both been out for about 6 months. What's the injury? What is the injury with those two players? Why have they been out for so long? I mean, Tuanzebe's a player that I've really liked, and but I think there's a less than 10% chance that he's got a future at Man United. I hate to say that, but I just don't see how Tuanzebe. You know, I think really we're trying to get him fit to move him on, aren't we? And I've got a funny feeling that Axel Tuanzebe's contract is basically gone. I mean, I might be wrong on that, but I think he might be out of contract in the summer. Let's have a quick look. Axel Tuanzebe. Yeah, his contract's gone in the summer, so he's gone. I mean, there's nothing massively to say about that. He's out of contract in the summer. He's been massively injury prone. I mean, at the end of the day, he's going, isn't he? He's gone in the summer. We're not going to give him a new contract. So, yeah, Tuanzebe's probably not worth discussing because unless he pulls a miracle, he's not part of our future. Brandon Williams is interesting. He signed the new contract, obviously, in the Solskjaer era. Didn't really kick on from that debut season where he looked pretty good at left back. Went to Norwich, cum sar, it was okay. He's been out with an injury for, 5 months, which is a long time to be out as a young player. But there is an opportunity there at right back. And you know what? If he's going out there, I think he's been in Dubai training. If he's going out there to Spain with the rest of the players, you know, there's not that many first team players there. It is a chance to impress the manager. And you never know. You never know. I mean, I did that video the other day of the top 5 contenders. Maybe Ten Hag looks at him and goes, I quite like the look of him. Let's use him for the rest of the season. I mean, it could be an interesting one. I think Tuanzebe is obviously out of the contract next summer. Very injury prone. Next to no chance of him even being at United next season. Brandon Williams was up for sale in the summer, but got injured. Couldn't be sold. You know, sort of like the Phil Jones thing, isn't it? Get injured in the transfer window, you can't be sold. I'd be interested to see whether Ten Hag gives him a chance. I mean, let's not forget, Aaron Wan-Bissaka should be in Spain as well. I would imagine Williams will start over Wan-Bissaka. So if he starts, no Dalot. I mean, the interesting thing is, Dalot is probably not going to be back for the Carabao Cup game and might not be back for the game against Forest on the 27th. So there is a spot at right back available. Now, the only senior defender we've got available is Lindelof. Maguire, Martinez, both at the World Cup, Luke Shaw, Malacia, Dalot, all at the World Cup. So there is a chance there for Brandon Williams. I mean, if I was a betting person, I don't quite think he's up to the grade, but the opportunity's there. He's fit. That's good news. Let's see what happens with him. At the very minimum, let's get him fit and sell him. And, you know, let's hope actually he comes back and does quite well because you just never know. You just never know. Good question here. And I'm going to run it on a poll as well. Who would you play? Williams or Wan-Bissaka? I saw somebody say there they'd rather play Wan-Bissaka. I actually think Wan-Bissaka's a better right back than Brandon Williams, and Brandon Williams is a better left back. I think Wan-Bissaka gets a lot of bad press because we know that Ten Hag wants to sell him. He's not part of his plans, but he's not useless. He's just not. He just doesn't suit what Ten Hag wants at the end of the day. So, yeah, I like Wan-Bissaka. I just don't think he suits Manchester United. I always wanted him to be a decent player, but defensively he's very, very good. Going forward, not so much so. Dendon says, is Sir Jim rich enough to take United to this next step? I don't know. And this is the thing. Some people say he is, some people say he isn't. Most of his money's locked up in his business. Would that be to buy United? Is it personal wealth? This is what I mean. We can't. I refuse to jump behind any particular potential owner when we don't actually know what said potential owner is going to do with the club. So there we go. Also, just Paul Scholes. I don't know whether you saw what Paul Scholes has said. He said that United haven't won a trophy for 5 years. It's got to be a target to win a trophy this year. And if Ten Hag could win an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, that would be a really good start to his tenure. It's interesting that Scholes said that because we are going to be back playing very, very soon. We've got a Carabao Cup game against Burnley, which is going to be very difficult because that's a game we're going to play cold. Burnley have got 2 championship games before that. The championship actually kicks off again next week. So I think it's going to be a tough ask to stay in the Carabao Cup with most of our squad not there and Burnley, doing very well in the championship and fresh. So we might get knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Burnley. But I don't know whether... I mean, it'd be great to win a trophy. Any trophy that's a trophy would be great. But I don't, and Scholes didn't say this either. I don't think it has to be a target for Ten Hag to win his trophy in his first season. We haven't won a trophy for 5 years, so you can't expect the new managers to do it in their first year. But I agree with Scholes. It would be great if he could do it. It's going to be very difficult to do it. As we know, last year the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup was contested by Chelsea and Liverpool. Man City have won the Carabao Cup a lot. The top 4 tend to take the cups very seriously. The league, we're not going to win that. And the Europa League looks very challenging. Obviously, we've got to play Barcelona in February, haven't we? So I think it'd be very difficult for Man United to win a trophy in the first season. And as much as it's not a trophy, I do think top 4 has to be the priority. What's Scholes on about? A trophy? We're not 90s Newcastle. Let's win the Carabao Cup and make us feel like we're achieving. Sod that. Do Chelsea win stepping stone trophies to get to the top, says Nick P. Interesting. And it's 50-50 on Wan-Bissaka and Williams. There we go. Aaron Wan-Bissaka should not be converted into a midfielder. We should buy an actual midfielder. Who is saying that we should use Aaron Wan-Bissaka as a midfielder? I mean, there's opinion and there's opinion and there's people who haven't got a clue about football. Aaron Wan-Bissaka he can't pass, he can't go forward, and he can't stay on his feet. Can you imagine a holding midfielder who's slide tackling and can't pass? It's as bad as saying let's play him at centre-back. He's a right-back. That's what he is. David Campbell says League Cup is a must. It's going to be difficult, mate. We've got to play Burnley on the 21st. And Burnley are going to be very difficult to play against because they've played 2 championship games before they play us. We're going into it cold and we're missing most of our team. So it'd be very difficult for us to beat Burnley. I think people are underestimating how tough that might be. I'd move on Fred and bring in Moises Caicedo, says Andrew Williams. Well, that's a great point because if you're asking me who I would rather sign, Caicedo or Declan Rice, it would be Caicedo every day of the week. And that's not because I think that Caicedo is better than Declan Rice. I just think he'll be half the price. And sometimes you've got to look at that. We've made mistakes in the past. Funnily enough, we've been talking about Wan-Bissaka. That was 50 million quid. Harry Maguire was 80 million quid. We paid a 50% English tax there. We got taxed 50%. If we'd have gone for a right back like Wan-Bissaka who wasn't English, we'd have saved 25 million. If we'd gone for a centre back like Harry Maguire that wasn't English, we'd have saved 30 million. So I would go for Caicedo over Rice. And he's younger, definitely. And I think Brighton would sell Caicedo for about 50 million quid, whereas West Ham are going to want 80, 90 for Rice. So I definitely would go with Caicedo. Harsh says he misses the Prem. I've got to say I'm missing the Premier League now. The novelty of the World Cup is great. It's great. And we've got nothing else to watch. But I'm the same. You know what? I know we've got the tree up and we've got the snow out the window, but today is the first day I've actually felt festive. I know it's December the 1st. Maybe that's what it's to do with selection boxes, advent calendars, etc. But I do have a longing for domestic football as well. I think this time of the year, I love it. I love it. You know, like Sky when they have the snowmen kicking the ball about. I just love like a Wednesday night game in December when United are playing, or a Saturday afternoon game in December when United are playing. It just feels weird this year that we're not having that. And then you watch the World Cup and it's baking hot. You just want to feel, you want to look at your Christmas tree and put the telly on and go, oh, this is nice and cosy. And I'm looking at the Christmas tree and I'm looking at, you know, basically a summer tournament, and it looks like a summer tournament. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Premier League being back. I don't think the World Cup's been bad. If I'm absolutely honest, as I say, the novelty of the World Cup is wearing off a little bit for me. I would love to see, and I don't care who, well I do, I'd love to see Brazil or Portugal or England go out in the quarterfinals from a completely selfish point of view, because if Portugal go out, we'll get Bruno and Dalot back early. If England go out, we'll get Rashford, Shaw and Maguire back early. And if Brazil go out, we'll get Anthony and Casemiro back early. I'm just worried that we're going to have 4 teams in the semi-finals that are packed with Man United players. Obviously, I don't want England to go out. I'd rather they didn't go out. But we could do with a couple of teams that United have got players in coming out. Definitely, because, as I say, if we have the worst case scenario is Portugal, England, Brazil, and France, really, because then you've got Varane, you've got Bruno, Dalot, Maguire, Rashford, Shaw, Casemiro, Fred, and Anthony. It's a lot of players to have out. And that's what'll happen if they hit to the semi-finals. I don't think they'll be back for the game in the World Cup. The game for Man United on the 27th. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Enjoyed that show. It's basically 50-50 on Williams and Wan-Bissaka. And yeah, very interesting about Declan Rice, because that was about 50-50 as well. So let's wait and see what happens. But I think this new ownership model is going to be very interesting. And I don't know whether anyone's thought about it yet. But the new owners, if they're in by April, they're going to spend next summer like we did last summer, which for me is a massive positive, because they're going to want to show to the fans that they want to, you know, they're real, that they're serious. I'm just going to hit the end of the stream. It'll push you over to That's Football. I'm live there in about 10 minutes for the 3 o'clock watch along. So if you're watching the World Cup, join me on That's Football. Some really interesting stuff to talk about, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Thanks for watching.